I've had clients in the past say, Nick, I didn't sweat at all. Like, I just had such a bad workout. And we have 5 fitness myths today. This is number 1. You have to sweat to get a good workout. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another Thursday, another morning takeaway episode. I want to kind of go through some things here as we start off before we get into 5 fitness myths and kind of why today's podcast is going to go where it's going. So, and I feel like I'm just going to jump into this really quick, and I guess that's what a podcast is all about, right? You just get on here and ramble on. I might go on a little bit of rants, that's okay, but I also want to kind of update you with where I'm at in my life right now. I'm going to be releasing a YouTube video this Sunday, basically updating you about my routine, my workout, kind of what's going into it. I'm kind of upping it a notch. And then next week, I'm gearing up to move. So I'm going to be kind of upgrading space a little, not far away from the beach, literally moving like 4 blocks down, still about 100 yards from the beach. I'm very grateful. Needless to say, I'm not going anywhere. So with that said, there's a lot of external factors that have been going on in my life that is a lot of moving pieces, right? And I think it's important just in this case, just to remember your daily tasks and values are so important, right? Because we can get caught up in those bigger grand scheme of things a week away from moving, and like, yes, you want to plan, but we got to take care of the now, right? So another podcast, I talk about that kind of stuff all the time, but I want to talk about fitness myths today. And before we get going there, I just want you on that topic to recognize the quote. You might not be able to read it because it's in blue, kind of hard to read, but it says, be patient. Sometimes you have to go through the worst to get the best. And that doesn't necessarily relate to everything that we're going to talk about today, but it's just a good peace of mind, right? Like you're going to go through crappy times. You're going to go through, and you got to enjoy it. I put a post out yesterday on Instagram talking about, embrace the bad times as an opportunity to get better, and then embrace the good times as an opportunity to have more ambition for more good, right? And that kind of came out of, just different things in my mind, but without going on a rant on all of those different things, let's jump into the fitness myths. And don't forget to like this video, comment, tell me your thoughts. Maybe I say something today in these fitness myths that you didn't realize, maybe you've heard before, heard a different opinion. I'd love to talk about it. I love talking about this kind of stuff, especially because it relates to our health and our longevity, everything. If you're not subscribed already and you're watching this, please hit the subscribe button. And the best thing you can do to help me out is, 1, share the show with somebody if you take something away, and 2, don't forget to hit the bell icon to get these videos as soon as they come out. Watch them as long as you want, as long as you can listen to me blabber on whatever. Anyways, let's dive into it. Why do we want to talk about fitness myths today? Well, I got a little story to tell you. I was on my app the other day, and I put this on my Instagram story, but I was on my app the other day, and one of the people that is on my app, he's awesome, been doing one of my workouts that I programmed for myself. And mind you, I have 8 years of experience doing this stuff. Not to say I'm perfect, but I have a history, and I've studied the body, and I've studied the mind, physiological responses, and yada, 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 right? Like, this is what I put my heart and soul into. And that program was specifically designed for me. And then I put it out for everybody to follow because people are seeing great results, whatever. And he was super proud that he was following this program, and he showed it to one of his coworkers. Is very like full of pride, right? And this coworker, I don't know that this was an intention. Maybe I don't know the tone of voice. Like, he basically said, working out full body is not good for you every day. Working out for more than 45 minutes is not good for you. And when he told me that, I was so grateful that he told me this, because it sparked a whole new level of just kind of like mental state for me. But like, one, and I'm not degrading this coworker at all, but like, one, what is your profession? How much time have you put into it, right? And 2, the other side of that is My favorite part about fitness is that there is no one size fits all. There's CrossFit, there's body weight training, there's mobility, there is bodybuilding, there's calisthenics. We could go into any kind of fitness, and your goals can be achieved in so many different ways, and that's why fitness is so cool, right? Like, everybody can have their own opinions and philosophies, and different things work for different people. So for that person to put that on the person that's following my program just didn't seem fair, because this guy's putting his heart and soul into my program. And like I said, not to say my program's perfect, but he has a sense of pride. He's making progress. And for somebody to just want to put that negative energy out and kind of tear him down in a way, it doesn't seem right. And to be open-minded to, hey, there is no one size fits all. And I kind of want to break that fitness myth down too, with full body stuff and long workouts versus short workouts, and kind of dive into some different things. And that is actually number 2 on my list. Number 1 on my list has to do with my workout today, in which I did not sweat. If you follow me, you know that I'm a sweaty dude. And I mean, I am notorious for butt sweat, swamp butt, like it's just everywhere, right? Like, I can't control it. My metabolism's really fast, whatever, eat a lot. We go into all these bodily processes. But today, I just didn't sweat all that much. And I kind of started thinking about it, because I've had clients in the past say, Nick, I didn't sweat at all. Like, I just had such a bad workout. And we have 5 fitness myths today. This is number 1. You have to sweat to get a good workout. Quote, unquote, whatever you want to say about that. And it's just not true. Yes, it could mean that your body's burning a little more calories. It could mean that you're doing a little more, but at the same time, does that mean that your body's moving through the correct movement patterns functionally, progressing you for longevity? You can't judge the quality of a workout based on how much you sweat. I could tell you to go do 100 burpees and that be your workout, and it's gonna give you a pretty good workout. But is that the best thing for you in your longevity and your goals? Probably not. It's high impact. It's great here and there, but it's a high impact workout. It's gonna hurt your joints in the future. There's so many different things that go into it, and to judge your workout only on sweat, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. And I had to remind myself that today. And it's great to sweat. You feel like you're detoxing, and you are, and you're releasing. You can still release those endorphins and find positives in that workout, right? Like, I had a really good pump. My muscles were really tight in the way that I was, right? Like, this program's focusing on contractions and squeezes and whatever. But that's where we have to take it with a grain of salt and realize, hey, sweating is not the end-all be-all for a workout. So that's kind of what I have to say on that. Number 2 is quote-unquote, long workouts are not beneficial versus short workouts are not beneficial. So let's take the first one in regards to my story that I told you at the beginning of this, right? Long workouts are not beneficial. Well, to that I say, what about the power lifters? What about the strength and conditioning athletes? Or like for example, when you're lifting for power or you're lifting for strength and you're going for a 1 rep max, when you're building up to that 1 rep max, you should be resting ideally at a minimum 1.5 minutes. 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Some people rest 5 minutes in between a set. How long is that going to workout going to be? At that rate, you could maybe get, what's the math on that? 9 reps in a 45-minute window, as the coworker said. And it's just not, it's not applicable to all areas, right? So for me, a long workout is totally beneficial if you're doing, and if you are doing what is programmed strategically in the right way, right? And based on our goals, whether it's muscular endurance, hypertrophy training, strength, power, muscular endurance, I already said it, cardio. You can break these down into different workouts, but that then gets into short workouts. So needless to say, I wouldn't put all of your eggs in one basket on like, hey, I have to watch the time. I know people that'll say, hey, 45 minutes and I cut it off right there. No matter where I'm at in the program, I'm done. There is a little science that goes into it between your testosterone and your cortisol levels. Your testosterone starts to convert to cortisol, yada, yada, yada. But there's other ways that we can combat that as well with our nutrition, our water intake, sodium intake, all kinds of different things, right? Happy to talk about that as well. And also, if you want me to do a full podcast on one of these myths or a myth that you've heard before, let me know in the comments, because I'm feeling really passionate about this right now. So that's it for on the long workouts. And like, I guess on that note, since I'm not talking about full body workouts in this podcast and what that coworker said, my workouts are a little longer because I usually go a bilateral exercise, a unilateral exercise for all 7 fundamental movement patterns. That's knee dominant, hip dominant, vertical push, vertical pull, horizontal push, horizontal pull, and core. So we won't dive into that, but as you can tell, that's a lot, right? And it's, to me, what I found worked the best for me, the most beneficial. I feel the best, I'm limber, I'm 6'4", 236 pounds, and I'm able to put my palms on the ground with my legs straight, right? Like I can touch my toes and put my palms on the ground. I feel good, right? So let's get into the other side of that. Short workouts are not beneficial. That's just bogus, because I can go and have the best workout of my life. If you're looking to burn fat, do a short workout. Do a 10 to 20 minute high intensity interval training workout where you literally work for 20 seconds, rest for 10 seconds. That's a 2-to-1 work to rest ratio. Maybe you're working in different kind of intervals, but that's going to be a short workout, and you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck with body weight exercises. You can do a mobility workout, which is probably going to be, my mobility routine on YouTube is 20 minutes long, right? And I do that almost 3 to 4 times a week. So needless to say, there is benefits to both long and short. And again, there is no one size fits all. So let's get into number 3, stretching before a workout. It's a common like, oh, I have to stretch, right? And I preach stretching. I preach making sure that you recover through mobility or stretching. But I don't really talk about, and I haven't really talked about, like, what is the proper kind of stretching. There's different kinds of stretching, right? We could go all kinds of craziness, whether it's foam rolling can kind of be, that's more deep tissue, but dynamic, static are the ones that we should really focus on. You can go into PNF stretching. Those are the 2 that we'll focus on. So a static stretch is like just touching your toes or arm across, right? Like the normal kind of stretches that you see. A dynamic routine is going to be kind of like a reverse lunge with hands overhead, right? If you're watching me on YouTube, this will eventually be on Spotify. If you're watching me on YouTube, I have my hands over my head, I'm stretching, right? And I'm leaning back into that reverse lunge. We could do a leg, like alternating quad pull, alternating knee hug, whatever that is. So depending on the activity that you have planned is how you should prepare, right? Strength workouts, I love mobility, I love foam rolling, and I love, a static stretch usually after a workout. And a good cool down, your muscles are already been stretched. I'm a perfectly good fan with going into a workout, just kind of cold turkey, getting in your push-ups, getting in a few push-ups, getting in a few reverse lunges, just getting those muscles fired and engaged, pull-ups, something body weight to get it going. David Goggins talks about nickels and dimes all the time. 10 push-ups and 5 pull-ups, and kind of does that to warm up, right? There's different ways that we can go about that, and I think that's a really good topic for a full podcast, but that's kind of the gist, what I got for you, keeping the time crunch. I'm also going on a bike ride here in about 30 minutes and going to try to get about 15 miles in at 5 p.m. Anyways, so number 4, we're getting into targeting certain areas. And I kind of put in here, the most common one is like, how do I target my abs? How do I lose my belly fat, right? And the truth and fact of the matter is, it's really not a thing. Like, this is a myth that you could just do abs to get abs. And it's the same as a bicep curl. I've talked about this before. If you do a bicep curl, you are stretching that muscle at the very bottom with load, with resistance, and then contracting it at the top, squeezing that blood and those nutrients back into the muscle. What's that gonna do? It's gonna break down, it's gonna pump more in so that the next time it happens, it's like, oh snap, I need to be prepared for it, so it grows back bigger, right? It's the same thing with your core. Now, your core, there's different ways to train it, whether it's a sit-up versus an anti-lateral plank or an anti-extension dead bug or whatever you wanna do. There's different ways to do that. That's not the same as like that same range of motion as a sit-up where you extend and crunch, kind of like a bicep curl, right? But the fact of the matter is, yes, that will help, but usually it's just gonna grow back bigger and more bulky. And abs are made in the kitchen. That's really, the 80% of everything is made in the kitchen. Eat whole foods, eat real animals from the earth, grass-fed, no crap in the wherever they were raised, like eggs, pasture raised versus pasteurized, all this stuff. And really, if you want like targeting an area, like yes, if you're a bodybuilder, that is great. There's a lot of those splits, people call them the quote unquote bro splits, like chest day, back day, arm day. That's gonna be great because you're putting so much time under tension on that muscle. But when it comes to like spot reduction, it's not really a thing. It's, you know, you can train, and if you want to do that, I would suggest like 3 sets of 15 to 20 reps, and really just kind of give that muscular endurance to the area. But your best bang for your buck when it comes to burning fat or losing that belly, in my opinion, it's really incorporating your legs, because if you think about it, your belly fat is closest to your legs. And the more that you engage those hip flexors and your quads and your glutes and everything kind of in your trunk, the more that core is going to need to be involved, right? The more we activate that core, the more it's working, the more work that puts in, the more calories you're going to burn in there, right? And in your body, right? But it's in that area essentially, quote unquote, right? So that's that myth, and we can dive into that another day as well if you would like to. That's number 4. We're kind of flying through this thing. I'm really enjoying this, by the way, if you couldn't tell. I'm just like freaking, I feel like a textbook. Anyways, all right, so number 5, our last one today. There's many more out there, and I'd love to do a little part 2 on this, and I've talked about this one before, but number 5, lifting weights makes you bulky. Bull honky. It doesn't. I hear this most, I hear this most from my women clients. All the women that I train, they're always like, well, I don't want to lift weights. It's going to make me bulky. It's going to make me look like a boy or a man, or like, and that's, we won't get into that, but it's just not true. The easiest way to break this down for you is for every 1 pound of muscle that you build, you are burning in return 50 calories at rest. And I'll let you do the math. If you put on 10 pounds of muscle, yes, the scale might go up. Another podcast for another time. That scale sucks. Don't ever pay attention to it. The scale might go up for a second, but over time, how many calories are you burning at rest? Your resting metabolic rate has just gone up by 500 calories. That means you can be doing a workout, you did your workout for the day, now you're sitting on the couch and you're burning 500 extra calories. So put on muscle. We lift to build muscle. We do cardio for different reasons, probably more for the cardiovascular system. But when we start activating this resistance training and strength training, that's why I tell people all the time, like, if they're trying to lose weight and they say, oh, well, like, I just need to do cardio. Well, there's a lot of research that goes into, like, especially if you're getting on the treadmill for an hour, you might be tapping into other systems that's really, like, not benefiting fat loss, because you're turning that testosterone into cortisol. You're not really using the creatine phosphate system, if you want to get into it scientifically, physiologically. But strength training is the way to go. I've worked with clients that were 200, 300 pounds overweight, and we start with medicine balls or something that feels like resistance training, and that can really start working them through those movement patterns for health, obviously health, longevity, and ultimately, muscular endurance and strength, because that is what we need, right? And it's not going to make you bulky if you're training to get bulky. If you're eating to get bulky, that's the key. If you're eating to get bulky, you're going to get bulky. If I tell you, and that whole idea is super simple. Caloric surplus versus caloric deficit, That's all there is to it. Yes, there's so much research behind that, and we could dive in that as well, but I'm gonna leave this here and take it with what you will. If there was something I said, please let me know or share it with somebody. I love talking about it. And before we wrap this thing up, I would love to do a little random question generator, how we end this thing. Let's see, generate a random question. What's your plan for surviving a zombie invasion? First thing that comes to mind, I'm getting four-wheelers, I'm packing them up, probably have some kind of ammunition and artillery, and just hang out on the top of the mountain. Probably in East Tennessee somewhere, it's kind of isolated. Might have some bears to help me out, who knows, but totally not fitness related, obviously, which is what kind of makes that fun. So anyways, that is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took something away. I hope maybe something was like an aha moment or made you feel a little better about working out and your fitness or nutrition, whatever it is. And again, if you like this video, please like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell icon. I'll see you next time. Have an awesome freaking day. And don't forget to smile.